Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Basic Stitches here on My Crochet Story. This is Maureen and I want to thank every one of you for stopping in for just a moment to see what I'm going to do with what we call the berry stitch. And as you can see, the berry stitch makes this nice gorgeous texture. This is a washcloth. And I'm going to show you how you can take this berry stitch, not only make a beautiful washcloth with all this nice texture on the front and a very nice smooth bottom on the back, and you can make it not only a washcloth, but how about a tea towel or a cup towel? Maybe even get very industrious and make a full towel. But before we get started, thank you again so much for being here with me, and if you are new to my channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell and the one that has what I like to call the little hugs on the side, so that you don't forget that you won't miss any of the content that I put up for you. So again today, this is the berry stitch in our Basic Stitch series. This particular swatch that I made for you is made out of acrylic, but anytime you're going to make a household item, you're going to want to be sure to use a cotton or cotton blend. So I would suggest that if you are actually going to make this to be used, for washing your face, taking a bath with, anything that requires you to use water, make sure that it is a cotton or cotton blend. Acrylic just does not soak up water very well. So, grab you some cotton. I will be using a eye hook. Mine's a Susan Bates. There are a lot. Let me back up and talk to you about the cotton for a moment. There are lots of different cottons out there. I prefer really the I Love This cotton from Hobby Lobby. It has a nice texture to it. It's a very nice cotton for what you spend for it. Now, there are a lot of other cottons out there, and I'm not going to go into all of them simply because I've used basically the I Love This cotton from Hobby Lobby for years now, and that's my go-to cotton. So, grab you some cotton yarn, or like I said, if you just have a little bit of a roll of acrylic sitting around and you want to work yourself up a swatch just to get in the practice of making the berry stitch, then go grab it. Your needle. Now, if you have not ventured out and bought any needles, you can still do this stitch using your J hook, or even a smaller one, an H hook if you'd like, but I will be using the recommended I hook for this particular yarn that I've chosen for today. So you're going to see your little intermission button here in just a moment, so you can go grab some materials and a hook, and I'll meet you back in just a moment. Alright, so today we're going to be using this yarn. It is colored yellow. It is from Mainstay. Now this is Walmart's brand. It's just like Red Heart Super Saver, except I find it to be a lot softer. It is a 100% acrylic yarn. This particular skein has 397 yards or 363 meters. It is a nice size 7-ounce ball. This is a medium 4 weight, and I will be using the recommended hook, which is you can look at it as a 5.5 millimeter or USI. Acrylic is always machine washable, dryable, but do not bleach it and do not iron it, because the acrylic threads or fibers do have a tendency to melt if you put it on in extreme high heat. Now, I'm going to remind you that the object that we will be making up today is for household items, but I'm using an acrylic yarn to just show you the stitch and what you can do with it. But if you're going to make household items, be sure that you use either cotton or cotton blends, such as a high content cotton acrylic would be okay. Cotton polyester most of the time is what I use if I don't, if I'm not just going to go straight cotton. So, as I said, we're going to use the eye hook. I'll be using my Susan Bates eye. I have already found which end has the pull from the center, and I've already pulled me out a good length. Now, the berry stitch that we will be using for this particular project is worked in an even number. It doesn't matter how wide you want it, as long as you end up with an even number. So I'm going to attach my yarn to my hook. I cross it in the back, my parallel lines, loop through, and pull it up. And then tighten up the, what I call the feeder string or yarn. Okay, so since we're doing even numbers, I'm going to chain a length of chain of 20. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Now this length with this hook will make a nice small, like maybe baby washcloth. And that's what I'm going to do today. I'm just going to show you what it looks like in this smaller size washcloth. Now I really do love the berry stitch because it does give your washcloths, your hand towels, a really nice texture on one side, and it's very nice and decorative too at the same time. All right, so our very first row, we are going to put a single crochet in the second chain from the hook. Now remember, this loop on your hook is nothing but your starting loop, or when we get to working in rows, you'll hear me a lot of times call it the chain to start the height of your next row. Now for this particular project, I'm going to have you do your single crochet in a little bit different position. Now when we make single crochets and we have it laying like this facing up towards us, we have these nice V's that are looking at us. But if you'll turn that work over just a little bit, you'll see that on your chain you have these bumps. And it is actually the loop that you are creating when you make your chain. Well, that's where we're going to put our first single crochets and the rest of the rest of the single crochets for this row. So rather than working in the top loop, we're going to take and roll our chain over, and we are going to work in this back loop or bump of each chain. So we're going to work it just like we normally do. We're going to skip the first chain, and into this next chain I'm going to roll it over, go through that loop, and just work my normal single crochet. We're going to do that all the way around. If you'll keep the chain facing downward, you'll always know where that bump is, and we can go in that loop and make our single crochets. Now I'm going to do a few more with you, and then I'm going to stop for a minute. I'm going to show you why I'm doing this here. All right, now I normally 99% of the time, whenever I'm starting a project and I am not working directly into making my specialty stitch or going right in with a stitch, I will always start out putting in my first row of whatever stitch it is, single crochet, half double, double crochets, whatever it is it's asking me to do to start the foundation of the project. I will always put it in this back loop of my chain, because look at this. See how nice these V's are here at the top? We'll take and roll that over, and look at that nice pretty edge there. Can you see that? I really like the edging that it gives on my project, especially if I'm not going to come back and do anything to the edging. Like if I'm not going to put any fringe, or if I'm not going to come back around with a border or something. But I really like this edging that it gives, rather than that one single little loop that most of the time we get whenever we have to stitch into the top loop of the chain. So I'm going to go ahead and continue down, putting my single crochet in that back loop or bump of the chain. And remember, as before, you do not want to rush your first row, because you want all of your, not only your chains to be consistent, but also these first stitches to be consistent. Apologize a little bit for my clumsiness. I had just put some lotion on my hands, and so the yarn is wanting to stick to my skin a little bit this morning. I also find that by working in this back loop of my chain, well, when I get my needle through there, I guarantee you won't have this much struggle with the cotton as I am with the acrylic. And I guess too, note to self, do not put lotion on your hands before you start a video. Alright, I'm coming up to the last two. And as you can see, even in that starting very first chain, I can still find that extra loop. Alright, so there is my first row. See that nice pretty edge there? I just really like that. Alright, we're going to chain one, bring up the height of our starting height of our row. And so what we're going to do now is we are going to, oh, let me tell you right quick. So we started with 20 chains, and so now we should have 19 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So that's what I wanted you to do. Alright, so we started with 20 chains. We single crocheted in the first chain from the loop, reducing the number of chains, so now we have 19 stitches. Alright, so the very first thing we're going to do now is we're going to go back into this very first stitch here. Now remember, we're not counting the loop, nor are we counting the chain. That's just to get us the height that we need in this next row. And I'm going to put through both loops there of the single crochet. I'm going to go right in through there and make myself another single crochet. Now we're going to do the berry stitch. So the first thing you're going to do is yarn over, go into the next stitch, and pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to yarn over and pull through a loop, but only through the first loop, and still keep 3 loops on our hook. Then we're going to yarn over again, go back into that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and now I have 5 loops on my hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to yarn over one more time and pull through all 5 loops, and that makes my little berry stitch. Now you can't see anything much right now, but as we get going down, you'll start seeing the berry stitch pop out. So into the very next stitch now, we're going to do a single crochet, and then we're going to make another berry stitch. So here we go. Yarn over, go into your stitch, and pull up a loop. 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through just the first loop, and we still have 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over, go back into the stitch, pull up a loop, We now have 5 loops on our hook. Yarn over and pull through all 5. And that is the repeat for this row. We're going to do a single crochet into the next stitch, and then a berry stitch into the next stitch. Yarn over, go into the stitch, pull up a loop, 3 loops. Yarn over, pull through just the first loop, still 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over, go back into that stitch, pull up a loop. We now have 5. Yarn over, pull through all 5. So our repeat pattern is single crochet, berry stitch, single crochet, berry stitch, single crochet, berry stitch, all the way down. So here we go. Another single crochet. Now the berry. Yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops. Yarn over, pull through the first loop, 3 loops. Yarn over, go back into the stitch, pull up, 5 loops, pull through all 5. So we just continue doing that all the way down the row. Single crochet, now the berry stitch. Single crochet. Did I loop over there? I did, didn't I? So just a single crochet, yarn over, now the berry stitch. One more time. Oops, going to loop again, wasn't I? Single crochet, now yarn over for the berry stitch. Single crochet. Did you notice I didn't yarn over that time? Now the berry stitch. We're down to our last 3 stitches, so I should have a single crochet, berry stitch, and a single crochet, and that's what I want. So single crochet, berry stitch, let's see what to do. Oh, there they are, all 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull through, last stitch, single crochet. All right, now you can't see the berry stitch on this side, but look what happens when you roll over. Oh, there's those little berries. Can you see them? There they are. If I turn it this way, you can see them. If I turn them this way, you can see them. See those little berries there? Aren't they pretty? Now, once you've completed your last single crochet here, chain 1 and turn. Now in each one of these stitches we are going to do a single crochet. So the next row is just a single crochet. Top of the berry stitch we do a single crochet. Into the single crochet we do a single crochet. And that's all we do all the way down. Now this accomplishes 2 things. One is it sets up the row, the next row for the berry stitch. The other is that it gives it a nice definition between each row of berry stitches. Just go all the way down the row making single crochets. All right, so into this last, there's a single crochet, which is what I started out the berry stitch row with. All right, and you can see even more now how those little berries pop. And you're always going to have a nice flat but still really pretty texture on the back side, and on this front side here you have these nice little berries that will be good for scrubbing with, for catching, you know, your makeup when you're using this in cotton. Now remember, I'm doing our sample in acrylic, but this is really best worked up in cotton. Alright, so I've chained one, going to turn my work. Now I'm ready to repeat row 2, which created my berry stitch. So remember, we're going to start with a single crochet, and then into the very next stitch we're going to do our berry stitch. So we yarn over, go into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first loop, yarn over, go back into the stitch, 5 loops on, yarn over, pull through. Next stitch, single crochet, next stitch, berry stitch. And just like we did on row 2, we will alternate between the single crochet and the berry stitch until we get down to the end of the row. Alright, I'm coming down to the last 2 stitches. I'm doing my last berry stitch and ending again with a single crochet. And now I have completed my second row of berry stitches, and I hope that you can see the nice texture that is building here. Again, it's going to be flat on the back, which is alright because that makes just a nice texture as well. But the front side with the berry stitches gives it a little bit more definition, makes it a little fancier, but it still makes for good scrubbing surface. Alright, now depending on how many rows you want to make, I'm going to say that I'm going to make 12 rows. So if you're working along with me practicing this berry stitch and making a small washcloth at the same time, I will meet you back at the end of 12 rows, or ending with the single crochet row, because that's what we do next after we complete our berry stitch row. So what we basically have here is a 2-row repeat pattern. You'll start out with a single crochet row, and then you'll do the berry stitch. You'll do a single crochet row and then the berry stitch. And now I'm getting ready to do another row of single crochets. So I've chained one, going right back into this first stitch here, doing a single crochet on top of the berry, single crochet in the single crochet from below, single crochet in the berry, all the way down. And then that sets me up to be able to put in another row of berry stitches. So I'm going to stop here in just a moment, and I will meet you back in just a few minutes whenever I have completed 12 rows, ending with a row of single crochet. So I guess I'm going to have to say that that's going to put me at the 13th row, isn't it? Alright, so I'll meet you back in just a moment. Stop. stop. Now you'll notice at the end of 12 rows, this isn't quite as square as I want it to be. So I'm going to add in 4 more rows and see if that gives me a little bit more square looking washcloth that I want. So if you're ready to stop right here, then look for, you can skip ahead in just a moment and get to the final how we're going to finish this off. Or you can do as I'm going to do here for a few minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and go back and work in just probably 4 more rows to give it a little bit more, you know, make it look a little more square. And I'm still going to end on a single crochet row. So I'll be back in just a moment. Stop.